Hello, and welcome to Secrets for a Successful Life. We are
Sharon
and Randall Benjamin. In Breaking the Family Curse, Part 1, we discuss various types of family curses and generational negative habits. During this segment, we have some guests who will share some insight on this topic.
Yes, we have with us husband and wife, Richard and Niya Baraka. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you for having us.
Richard is a 28-year licensed clinical alcohol and drug counselor, the supervisor for the East Orange Partial Hospital Behavioral Health Department. Niya is a dual licensed mental health and substance use disorder psychotherapist, works with Hyacinth Foundation with AIDS patients. She's the clinical director at Airmid Counseling Services in East Orange, where Richard is the owner. But they are co-owners of two very important places, Angel Hope House, a halfway house in Newark for women, and Henry's House of Hope, a halfway house for men in Toms River. Again, thank you so much for joining us, taking out the time to be with us.
In Part 1, we discuss how families hide and cover up family curses and negative habits. What do you do, or what have you noticed as some of the possible reasons why families continue to pass these down from generation to generation?
Well, first, let me just say thank you for having us. I think you guys do phenomenal work in your segment. So what I've noticed is that it seems to be learned behavior, that people grow up in households that are impoverished, where people are living underneath their means, and it's just learned. People have a tendency to follow what their parents did, and what their grandparents did, and what their great-grandparents did. So if no one stops and says this is no longer working, they continue to exhibit that generational habitation on and on and on for generations to come. So what do you think?
Yeah, you're right. I mean, the learned behavior, attitudes and behaviors are passed from generation to generation. So that's what we see as the core issue in terms of that intergenerational dysfunction.
So how challenging is it for you to help people to see that they're living devastating lives?
Well, the good thing is that intergenerational dysfunction can be broken. You know, it's a challenge because people do what they know, and you have to try to help them identify what's not working. You know, and once you can help them identify their personal motivations for wanting to change, then it becomes a little bit easier to get their insight and awareness up to what's wrong and how they can do better.
Right, absolutely. You know, a lot of times people don't even know that this is dysfunctional. You know, if mom and dad made it through life through struggle, then that must be what I have to do. And so people just continue to do what they've seen. So our challenging part is trying to show them a different way and hoping that they accept responsibility and move on from it. And, we try to help them do that.
What categories or what type of negative generational habits do you find that are the most difficult to let go of, and why?
Wow. The types definitely are that generational poverty. I think is the biggest one. I've had clients that their grandparents, mom, dad, everybody's been on welfare for the last 25 years. Mm-hmm. So they tend to internalize that welfare must be a job. It's just a way of life. They take on the adage that this is life, stuff happens. And I'm a big proponent of stuff doesn't happen, you make stuff happen. So that's the type that I see. The category I usually see is usually in the urban setting. Not that it doesn't exist in other areas, but generally in the urban setting, you'll see a lot of the generational negativity continuing. Mothers without fathers in the home. We raise our daughters and love our sons. That type of generational curse, if you will.
Yeah, definitely I see that. It's the poverty, not just the poverty, that definitely is there, but I see broken families too. Like, when I think about like African Americans during slavery, if someone was taken from one plantation and given to another, You see that the oldest man and woman became instant parents and loved them as if they birthed them and raised them, and everyone that was around their age became an instant brother and sister. But now we don't see that now. You know, our neighborhoods are turning into the hood now. So we don't have that extended family, and we have like children raising children. There's not a lot of that family love that like our grandparents enjoyed. You know, they did more with less.
Yes,
you know, in
yes,
that generation,
yes.
and now we struggle more because those family ties and those family values have been disconnected. That foundation.
Yes.
Yeah, that extended family. Yeah.
So you all have been in practice for a number of years. Are you noticing a trend in more acceptance as normal? The dysfunction? Unfortunately,
yes, and we see it from the top down, from the leadership in America all the way down to the TV shows, to the message and the music and things of that nature. That dysfunction is almost entertaining, and it's promoted in a positive way. So that influence is like art imitates life, and now life is imitating art.
Right.
And so yeah, we do definitely see that.
Right. We also realize that the abnormal has become normalized when you see children raising children, because that was so taboo 25, 30 years ago. You know, having 5-6 kids without the onslaught of a husband anywhere to be found. You know, accepting that I'm not going to work at McDonald's, but I am going to go to jail. Normalizing that going to jail has become the new going to college. You know, that's the most disheartening for us, is that I know clients that have had parties for their children going to jail, and making it into college. It's like, if it happens, it happens. If it doesn't, oh well. You know, and it's really disheartening, because 20 years ago, everybody pushed their kid to be better than they were. If my parents didn't have a high school diploma, they pushed me to get one and go to college. You know, and now you hear college is not for everyone. It's for absolutely anyone who wants to go.
Yes.
Richard, Niya, thank you so much for joining us for Secrets for a Successful Life.
Amen. Thank you.
Join us the next time when Richard and Niya will give us some strategies as to how to break and stay free of negative habits. You can reach Richard and Niya. Why don't you give your contact information for people to reach you?
Absolutely. You can reach us at Airmid Counseling Services, located at 137 Evergreen Place, Suite 2D like David, in East Orange, New Jersey, or you can call me at 973-678-0550. You can also find us on Facebook at airmidcounseling.com.
Thank you again. We really appreciate your joining us for this segment of Secrets for a Successful Life. You may reach Secrets for a Successful Life at randallsharonbenjamin@gmail.com. Contact us on Facebook, LinkedIn, Twitter, and subscribe to our YouTube channel. Again, thanks for joining us. We are
Randall
and Sharon Benjamin for Secrets for a Successful Life. See you next time.